Good morning and a very warm welcome. You're watching Janata Television and this is the English Bulletin with me, Sushant Akal. The top stories first. 8th day of Dasai festival being observed today. This day sees mass slaughter of animals to please goddess Mahakali. Death toll from Mugu accident climbs to 32. Injured passengers receiving treatment in Nepalganj. Unemployment forcing people to leave home on the eve of Dasai. Poor families struggle to manage 2 square meals. World leaders pledge to avert economic catastrophe in Afghanistan. UN urges G20 nations to pour billions of dollars in the war-ravaged nation. And Ronaldo grabs hat-trick as Portugal beat Luxembourg. Below par England draw with Hungary. And now the news in detail. Today marks the 8th day of Dasai festival being celebrated all across the country by worshipping Goddess Durga. Among the many forms of Goddess Durga, Hindu devotees revere Goddess Mahakali at various shrines and temples on this day. The 8th day of Dasai is dedicated to Goddess Mahakali, who is represented in Hindu scriptures as the fiercest form of Goddess Durga Bhavani. The chronicles of Hindu scriptures depict Goddess Mahakali of having dark blue skin, wild hair and her red tongue sticking out of her mouth. Mahakali also holds multiple weapons, a severed head, a garland made of human skulls and a bowl to hold the falling blood. Only her husband Lord Shiva can calm her wrath when Goddess Bhavani takes the form of Mahakali. On the night of Maha-Astami, which is also known as Mahakal Ratri, animal sacrifices are made in different temples as well as personal houses of the people to please Goddess Mahakali. Mahakal Ratri marks one of the 4 nights of Hindu religion with special importance. Motor vehicles and small arms owned personally are also worshipped on the occasion of Mahastami. Devotees in large number visit the temples of Durga Bhavani in Kathmandu Valley such as Gweshwari, Naksal Bhagwati, Kaligasthan, Maiti Devi, Sankata, Raktakali, Shobha Bhagwati, Dakshin Kali and other shrines on this day. The death toll from a bus crash in Mugu has climbed to 32. According to the police, 24 people died on the spot while 4 others breathed their last while being taken to Talcha airport after being rescued from the accident site. Similarly, 4 others died while receiving treatment at Kohalpur-based Nepalganj Medical College. The passenger bus with registration number BHE1 Kha 3167 heading towards Mugu from Nepalganj met with an accident at Janata Municipality 7 yesterday afternoon. A total of 44 passengers were travelling on the bus when the accident occurred. All others injured in the accident are receiving treatment in Nepalganj. Chief District Officer of Mugu, Rom Bahadur Mahat, informed that some of the victims have been identified while others are yet to be identified. Police suspect brake failure as the cause of the accident. However, they informed that investigation is currently underway. Dasai is considered the festival of family reunion and happiness, but contrary to this general assumption, on the very first day of Dasai, a noticeable number of people were seen crossing the Garachauki and Gauri Fat checkpoints along the Nepal-India border in Kanchanpur. The decision to go away from the families during the festival was not their free will, but for financially supporting the family. Our report.
The people who had returned home from India due to COVID-19 crisis are leaving home on the eve of the festival. It is not our will to leave the family when the Dasai has already begun, but it is for managing a 2 square meal. When one has no job, no sufficient food to eat, the festivals are longer important for us. It brings no happiness but gives pain instead, said Raj Bahadur, put the air of Dodaltura, who was found heading towards Simla, India for jobs. He arrived home 6 months ago owing to the rising infections of COVID-19 in India. Back at home, he was jobless and the days throughout these months were challenging for him. As he said, people like him are leaving home on the eve of the festivals when COVID-19 infection is seemed to have slowed down. Kesab Joshi from Darchula, who was among those in the line heading towards India, has a more painful story to share with. He lost his family member to COVID-19, so he has no Dasai celebrations this year. Moreover, he has to join the labor market in India to manage basic needs of his family. Similarly, Thana Devi Rawat, a Doti, said that she is unhappy while leaving home in Dasai festival. Rawat said, Dasai celebration has begun in everyone's house. Poor people neither can get happiness nor comfort. Assistant Sub-Inspector at the area police office, Gadda Chowki Jeevan Gurung, said that around 250-600 Nepali migrant workers leave the country for India on a daily basis. Police have also brought help desk into operation at border points to facilitate passengers.
This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back after the break. We continue with other national news. The government yesterday confirmed 691 new cases of coronavirus across the country. Following the latest round of tests, the total cases of coronavirus in the country have climbed to 803,552, while the number of active cases has dropped to 14,554 from the overnight tally of 15,024. According to the Ministry of Health and Population, altogether 777,741 infected persons have recovered from the disease in the country so far, following the recovery of 910 patients yesterday. The death toll from coronavirus has climbed to 11,257 after 14 fatalities were reported yesterday. Nepal is currently among the top 44 countries that have been most affected by the pandemic. The USA tops the list with over 45.42 million confirmed cases, followed by India with over 34 million cases. Coronavirus has infected more than 239.44 million people across the world and claimed over 4.88 million lives. And now the news from the economic front. Top officials of the United Nations World Tourism Organization have expressed their commitment for continued support to Nepal's tourism development. According to Nepal Tourism Board, the top-level officials of the UNWTO assured of continued support to Nepal's tourism development during a meeting with the Chief Executive Officer of Nepal Tourism Board, Dhananjay Regmi, at a program on Asia-Pacific region's tourism policy and strategy organized recently in the Maldives. NTB CEO Regmi met with UNWTO Secretary General Zurab Pololi Kashvili and Director of Regional Department for Asia and the Pacific Harry Huang in the Maldives and discussed issues related to tourism recovery and other pressing issues of tourism in the post-COVID-19 era, the NTB said in a press statement. Regmi reportedly said that the UNWTO officials were willing to support Nepal's sustainable tourism development, mountaineering tourism development, and institutional capacity enhancement. Different countries are receiving various types of support from the UNWTO. They have received direct benefits too. In this context, the meetings with them in regard to support to Nepal remained fruitful, the statement quoted CEO Regmi as saying. The UNWTO officials have also expressed commitment to organize some programs of Asia-Pacific region in Nepal in 2023, the NTB statement added. Regmi also met with Maldivian Foreign Minister and discussed issues related to tourism promotion and mutual cooperation between the two countries, according to the NTB. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international news. Welcome back, and now the international news. Members of the G20 group of major economies have pledged to avert an economic catastrophe in Afghanistan. According to the BBC, German Chancellor Angela Merkel said the country should not be allowed to descend into chaos. The virtual summit came as the UN urged world leaders to put billions of dollars into the Afghan economy. US President Joe Biden stressed that aid should be provided via independent international organizations and not directly to the ruling Taliban. But so far, the money forthcoming has largely been counted in millions just to provide emergency food and medicine. The takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban has caused a massive shock to an economy that was just about surviving. Banks were closed for many days after the Taliban seized control, and while many have opened now, accessing cash is still difficult. Many businesses shut down because their owners fled the country, fearing for their lives. Many of those who had jobs haven't received salaries for months. With no cash in the market, there has been a sharp rise in prices of day-to-day necessities, including food. An already difficult situation created by war and drought has become much worse. Women who had jobs and supported their families can no longer work and are now entirely dependent on handabouts. In Kabul, hundreds of people are still living in open tents with harsher winter months fast approaching. You're watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a hat-trick as Portugal recorded an emphatic World Cup qualifying win over Luxembourg at Estadio Algarve yesterday. The victory leaves Portugal second in Group A point behind Serbia, who they host in their final game. Ronaldo knocked in 2 penalties and rounded off the scoring with a header as he recorded his 58th hat-trick for club and country. The Manchester United player stole all the headlines with 115 international goals. The 36-year-old broke Iran striker Ali Dai's record of 109 goals last month. Portugal travelled to the Republic of Ireland in their penultimate Group A match before facing Serbia. Elsewhere, England's path to the 2020 World Cup hit an unexpected stumbling block when they were held to a draw by Hungary in a qualifier Gareth Southgate called a big disappointment. The game was marred by crowd violence between Hungary fans and steward as well as the police. Southgate's side are still in pole position to reach Qatar, but this was a disjointed display despite England taking on the Hungarians with an attacking lineup. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin, and the headlines once again. 8th day of Dasai festival being observed today. This day sees mass slaughter of animals to please goddess Mahakali. Death toll from Mugu accident climbs to 32. Injured passengers receiving treatment in Nepalganj. Unemployment forcing people to leave home on the eve of Dasai. Poor families struggle to manage 2 square meal. World leaders pledge to avert economic catastrophe in Afghanistan. UN urges G20 nations to pour billions of dollars in the war-ravaged nation. And Ronaldo grabs hat-trick as Portugal beat Luxembourg. Below par England draw with Hungary. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website janatasamachar.com. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.